morning, everyone. I hope you're all well on this beautiful, fine morning here in Drogheda. Today's coffee is sponsored by Nashville, Tennessee. Hello to everybody in Nashville. I hope you've all been keeping well. The reason the mug is so big today is that my lovely dog, who had his operation last week, decided he didn't want to sleep last night. He wanted to howl all night. So I was up all night. I'm going to need a lot of that coffee today. In fact, if anyone could come up with an intravenous drip of coffee, that would be fantastic. The other thing to let you know is that if you hear banging and crashing in the background, don't worry about it. Got some work guys in doing a bit of work on my house, and we're going to see how it works out. Hopefully they don't take a wall down while we're in the middle of this conversation. Great response to last week. Some of those questions hit home hard for a lot of people, and what was great was that it sparked people's imagination, or sparked them to send me a response. And I suppose one acknowledged that they were in a similar situation and look for some advice and how they could get some help as well themselves in relation to it. So I was able to give them some ideas as well, and that's essentially why I do this. I do this so that people can look in, see if there are some things that might actually help change things at home for them to make life a little less stressful, and then they can come back to me and I'll help them out as much as I can. So it's great to have people coming back as a result of having watched this or listened to the podcast, which is great. We have a few questions today. I suppose first things first, as well as Tennessee, this podcast is brought to you by Patreon. The patreon.com/Alan O'Donoghue podcast, I think, or Alan O'Donoghue podcast. I better check actually. I think I changed it. The Patreon page does keep this train rolling in terms of the podcast and the Facebook Live. So if you had a spare couple of euro, that would be fantastic. Once a month, it does make a difference, and I appreciate each one of you who has contributed so far to date. Right, we have 3 good tough ones today, so we're going to crack straight into it. We have twin boys who are 10 years old. They've always been high-spirited lads, but since they've gone back to school, the mornings in our house have been absolutely crazy. The first couple of days were fine, but over the past 2 weeks, it's just got worse and worse. They are so grumpy and fight with each other, which causes me to lose it, and me and my husband end up having an argument just before we both leave for work. We need to nip this in the bud ASAP, as it's not good for any of us. Have you any suggestions? I've actually worked with a few different couples around issues like this, where the morning times are really, really stressful. What I'd say is the first thing to look at is have a look at, are they getting to bed and getting enough sleep? Okay. Are they going to bed early enough where they're not up till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night? And then, or maybe playing a console, watching a DVD or YouTube or something at bedtime, because what that's doing is waking up their brains. So they might be struggling to get to sleep. So they might be going to bed fine for you. They're not causing an issue at bedtime, but what they may be doing is staying awake, and therefore that's making them more tired in the morning. The other thing to say is we are pretty shortly into the school year. So with the school year, there's always a transition because everybody has been out of routine. We've got a brand new routine during the summer where it's a lot more relaxed. Kids are staying up a bit later, they're having a lot of fun running around, and then they go into school and they're sitting down for a huge part of the day. And especially if you've got, like you say, high-spirited boys, they're probably the type of lads who need to be running around and burning up that energy. So there's a normal transition period over the school, going back to school. Are they getting enough exercise? So with them being 10, they probably have a bit of homework, but maybe not too much. So are they doing sports? Are they out running around with their friends, before, in the evening time before they come in to start to wind down? So are they getting enough exercise so that they're tired going to bed? Then we can look at the morning situation. So the issue is that they are grumpy and that they are having fights with each other. How are you managing that? Are you putting consequences in place for their behaviour? I know you don't want to have to do it first thing in the morning, but maybe it's something to look at. The other thing I'd suggest is, and has worked extremely effectively for other couples that I've worked with, is get one child up first. And you can alternate that each day. But get one child up first, have a little bit of time with them, chat to them. And if it means you getting up 10, 15 minutes earlier to do that, so be it. Because surely if you getting up 15 minutes earlier saves the arguments, that's better. You're writing into me to let me know that it's pretty rubbish at the moment, so you're probably willing to try anything. So get up a bit earlier, get one of them up that bit earlier, have some nice time with them, chat to them, help them get dressed if you need to, but just chat about the day and stuff like that. Have a little bit of a cuddle if they will cuddle you, because at 10 they may be stepping back from the cuddles, and then get them to come and maybe give you a hand to get the breakfast ready or lunches ready, whatever the morning might entail, and try and incentivize it so that they get, I don't know, an extra 10 minutes screen time or something like that, or 15 minutes maybe. If you need to incentivize it, you might not. They might be happy just to get up with you. And then get the other one up, so there's less opportunity for them to actually get into an argument or disagreement. The other thing I'd say is look at what is it that they're arguing about. Now, it could be something completely different every morning. It could be that one pokes the other while they're sitting having breakfast. Whatever it is, look at what is the common thread. Is it one of them is kind of going, I just want to wind him up? And if that's the case, maybe it's about stopping them before they walk in the kitchen door and say, right, you're both coming in for breakfast. I am not having any arguments. We are not having any fights. So right now, if you walk in here and start something, you are getting a consequence. And look at what are the consequences that are actually going to impact on them. So it could be that you get no screen time today at all. At all. If that's the way you're going to behave. And then follow through on it. You need to follow through it. So keeping an eye on them. I know, the reality is you might be sitting there going, Alan, I have so much to do in the morning that I don't have time to be watching them. But maybe it's about looking at you and your husband tackling this together, where one of you is getting the breakfast ready. Can you get the lunches ready the night before, or whatever, so that there is less stress and less things to have to do in the morning. So there is the potential to kind of keep an eye on them. And if one is kicking the other, well, then there's consequence. See how it goes, and do come back to me and let me know how you get on with that. Splitting up the waking up time reduces the amount of time that they might be spending it together alone. So they may share a bedroom, they may not, but they may share a bathroom, and that's where things can start, where the one's jostling with the other to try and just wind the other one up, because that's what brothers do. And then break that up and see how it goes. It might not work, but at least you're trying something different. But I'd say definitely look at the consequences and what are the things that are going to actually impact on them and make them kind of go, okay, that consequence there is way worse than the crack I'll get from winding up my brother. And see how it goes. Okay, I love this mug, it's so big. Thank you, Lisa Marie, for sending it to me. I really appreciate it. Okay. Recently, my daughter has been really pushing the boundaries at home. She's been lying to us quite a bit. It's not big stuff, but it's getting more and more regular. And what's happening is that we feel we can't actually believe a word out of her mouth. We want to trust her and be able to give her more responsibility. She actually wants a phone, but that's not happening at the moment. We just don't feel at the moment that we can trust her enough and that she deserves a phone or deserves the responsibility that she wants as well, and really needs to earn back our trust. Can you give us any advice on how to go about managing this situation where we can let her know how she can build back the trust and get her back on track? It sounds like the lies are kind of those little lies that, if you were to sit down and talk to a friend or a family member and say, oh, she lied about this morning, they might come back to you and go, that's nothing. But I can imagine that it's not just the one, it's the one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other, and they all line up, and they do make you start to question whether you can actually trust her. And I'm going to assume that if she's close to having a phone, you know, she must be of an age where she should be trustworthy. She should have that ability that you can say, right, here is something that's extremely expensive that is going to give you a lot of access to friends and family. We need to be able to trust you, so it's really important that you can do that. So what I'd say is, look at what the lies are. What is it that is she's lying about, and what is the consequence to her lying? And don't be afraid to say, right, you want a phone. Well, this is the age that you can have the phone. But right now, this is the age that you're actually getting it. So we would be happy to give it to you at this age, but we can't trust you, so now it's been pushed out to this age. That could be a massive incentive for her to actually start to think about her behaviour and look at the lies that she's saying, that she's telling. And then look at, is there a reason behind why she's doing this? Does she feel insecure? Does she feel like she has to hide the truth because of, what might happen? Like, are the consequences that you give over the top? They may not be. They may be absolutely fair to the act that has happened, but there could be something that's going on that's making her feel uncomfortable. Maybe ask about school. Is she going through some sort of bullying? Is she struggling with her schoolwork? Is she struggling with something outside with her friends? She may not be. Kids are good at lying. But as parents, we are good at catching them out too. So what I say is that if there is nothing apparent, look at, okay, we can't trust you right now, so your bedtime is reduced. So you're going to bed earlier. The phone is being pushed out. If she's looking to go out and, I don't know, go to the shops by herself and go with her friends, right now, no, we can't trust you to do that. But if you start to, look at the way you're speaking to us, the things you're saying to us, that will start to help us to start to trust you. And then, is there any practical things that she can start to do to build back that trust? Is there jobs that she can start to do around the house that maybe she wasn't doing before? Can she look at helping other people out? Is there others that maybe she can, a grandparent or somebody that she can go and do some work for, and that can help to start to show you that she actually really means it, and then keep an eye on the lies and see how that goes. And look at the consequences that you have for her. Make sure they're manageable. Make sure that they're realistic and that you can actually put them in place. So there's no point in saying, right, that's it, you are not allowed to do anything for the next 6 months, because it's just not something that you can actually put in place. You just won't do it because, one, you'll either forget, two, she'll be doing your head in so much that you're going to go, okay, have you learned your lesson now? And she'll go, yeah. And what's actually happened is the lesson she's learned is that do mum and dad's head in for a week, and actually 6 months turns into a week. So look at that and then go from there and see how you get on. And as always, do come back to me and let me know how it works out for you. Okay, last one for today, another big slug of coffee. I'm so happy that coffee was invented. Interesting fact, or maybe not a very interesting fact, I was talking to a friend of mine recently who lives in Colombia, and I said, the coffee in Colombia must be so good. And he said, no, it's absolutely terrible. The average person in Colombia does not get to have good coffee. I was like, why? And he said, because they export all the good stuff. So if you're sitting at home drinking good Colombian coffee that you really like, just remember that all the normal people in Colombia are not getting that nice coffee because you're getting it and I'm getting it. I actually feel a little bad for that now. Anyway, let's move on. Last question today. Myself and my ex-husband have been separated for over 2 years. I got into a relationship about 6 months ago with a really nice guy. My 16-year-old daughter just will not accept my new partner. She barely acknowledges his existence when he comes round to the house and says she hates him when he's gone. How can I get her to realise that I need to have a life too, and she just needs to accept this new situation? Ooh, that's difficult. It's really, really difficult because, your last part, you're absolutely right. You're an adult, you deserve to have happiness. We don't know the situations around your separation. And you obviously want your daughter to like your new partner. So it's okay for you to want to have a relationship and move on. The other thing I'd say is, though, maybe your daughter just isn't ready for you to be in a relationship. Like, 2 years is a relatively short space of time for a separation. Now, this is not a criticism of you at all, right? It's not a criticism of you at all. But what I'm saying is, you're absolutely entitled to have your relationship, but maybe she's not there yet. Maybe she's not there yet. So maybe in her head and her heart, what she actually was always hoping for is that maybe mum and dad might get back together. Because although your situation obviously was difficult enough that you guys decided to separate for whatever reasons, she loves you and she loves her dad. I'm going to assume that, right? So she may have been holding out that little hope, that little child inside her, hoping that mommy and daddy will get back together. And you starting a relationship is like the final nail in that coffin. So, like, there is no chance of this happening. You are not getting back. You are separated, and that is that. And she has no control over that. And she also has no control over a new man coming into her house. And she may be a little bit worried that he's going to be her new dad. And that can be quite a scary thought. That can be quite an upsetting thought, because she has a dad and she loves her dad and she doesn't want a new dad. And especially some lad that she's 16, that she knows is probably in an intimate relationship with her mom. Like, that's not something a 16-year-old wants to think about. And it's just one of those difficult situations. So you can't force her to like him. What you can do is you can say, look, I completely understand that you're not happy with this situation. And acknowledge it, accept, and say to her, that's absolutely okay for you to not be happy with this situation. What you don't have to put up with, though, is rudeness. So you may need to put a consequence in place if she's being exceptionally rude. But do have a bit of understanding about the situation and where she's coming from, because she is 16, and as far as she's concerned, her world has been turned upside down in the last 2 years. So what she thought was her normal family home has been flipped on its head, and it's no longer that. So her two parents are no longer living together. She probably has to spend time with you or your dad separately, and all of a sudden kids can start to feel divided loyalty. So maybe she feels like, maybe your ex doesn't know that you're in a relationship, and maybe she feels like she has to hide it, and that's pressure on her as well. And maybe he does know, and maybe he's questioning her about it, which isn't fair either. Now, I'm not saying it's your place to go to him and say, don't be questioning our daughter over my relationship, but it's about you having a better understanding of what's going on for her. Plus the fact she's 16, the world revolves around her. Her world revolves around her. That's the way it is. So it's important that, while she has to realise that the world does move on, you can't force her to move along with you at the same pace as you, because she's her own person. So maybe it's about sitting down with her and saying, look, I understand this is difficult for you. I know you're not happy with the situation. I need you to be respectful when he's here, because he has done nothing wrong to you. But we're going to get through this together. So, if you need any help from me, support from me to cope with the situation, let me know. She might say no, because you're the one that's bringing in somebody new. But maybe it's about, if you need some support from her friends or other family members, that maybe she can go and bitch about you and your new partner to. That's absolutely okay. Maybe go and send her to, a coach. That might be the thing that she needs to do, where she can just go and blurt it all out and go, I hate my mom and I hate her boyfriend and I hate my dad because they put me in this situation. And then she gets it out, and then she can start to process it and go, okay, I don't hate her. I'm just sad because my parents are no longer together. that's all right. That's absolutely okay. So I'm not really giving you an answer as to how to get her to come in line with the situation, because it's not fair to expect her to. She has a right to not be happy that you're in a new relationship, because she is your daughter and she may not be okay with that situation. But that's not to say that she's not going to be okay with it in 2 months' time, in 6 months' time, in a year's time. She will get used to it. She will move on, and she's going to get older and she'll start to move away and pull away, and that's okay too. And she'll start to be living her own life, and that's where she'll be less inclined to worry about you and your relationship. And the other thing I'd say is, you and your partner obviously are in that lovely phase where you're getting on well, you're obviously, starting to fall in love, or maybe you're madly head over heels in love now. But it's a relatively short time that you've been together, and that's something to be mindful of too, because on our separation courses, we will always say, when you're introducing a new partner to your kids, it's important to know that there is some substance to this, that this is possibly going to go somewhere, and it's not that you're just changing new partners every 6 months because it breaks up, because the honeymoon period ends. So it's just something to be mindful of in terms of, not just kind of dropping new men into her life, because there's no stability there for her. So it's important that she has that space to, to get used to the fact that you are now dating again, and she doesn't need to meet any new partners straight away. Now, obviously, she's met this guy, and hopefully this will work out for you. Hopefully you'll be really happy for the rest of your lives together. But if not, she may turn around to you and go, "Told you so," and that's upsetting for you too, when you have to deal with that if and when it comes up. So what I say to you is, just acknowledge her feelings. Accept that it's okay for her to not be happy with this situation, and that you're going to try your best to help her through the process. But you don't have to put up with rudeness. Okay, you don't have to put up with that. And your new partner doesn't have to put up with it, so you may need to put a consequence in place around that. Okay, we're done. That's us for today. I hope you all have a wonderful week. We'll be back next week, hopefully at the same time, but we'll let you know as always. Do please go and support the Patreon page, even if it's only €1 a month. It does make a difference. Thank you so much to everybody who's watched. I hope you guys are all well. Hello to all of you, and we'll see you next week. Take care.